Hey everyone, Optimus Wilbur here, and this video is not suitable for children under the age of 13. This is aimed at young collectors and adult collectors. Let's start the video. Next in the Optimus Wilbur podcast, all the way from Texas, we have my friend Input. How you doing, dude?
I am doing good, brother man. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing good, dude. Thank you so much. Like I've said, we had a little chat before we started recording this interview, and I'm so thankful for you for doing this, for helping me out in my college project as well.
Anytime, man. That's what I'm here for.
So couple of questions. Like, me and you, we're both YouTubers. We're in the same community with Transformers. But the questions I'd like to ask is, we're kind of close with the same age group, but what was your first introduction into Transformers?
Well, I initially got started with Generation 2. That's when I really kind of fell in love with Transformers as a whole, I guess you could say. But I was always aware of Transformers, and I always had a love for robots and giant robots and stuff. And the first toy that really introduced me to Transformers that I got was my Generation 1 blaster, which I still have to this day.
Yeah.
And I found it here at a Goodwill. And I know you guys, you might not have Goodwills, but they're essentially a thrift store. And he was $1. And back then, they used to have these giant tubs, I guess you could call them, of like fabric tubs. And you would just dig through these things. And that's how these thrift stores were set up. And that's how I found my Generation 1 blaster. And then they started re-airing the G1 cartoon in my area. And then they turned it to a Generation 2 cartoon, which was just the re-airing of G1 out of order.
Yeah, with those horrible CGI. Well, then, we're saying horrible CGI intros, but back then, they were brilliant to look at.
Right? Yeah.
The Dinobots fighting a yellow Devastator, and it's like, he's not yellow, he's green, but then it made sense later on.
Right?
But funny you should say that about the thrift stores, dude. Over here, it is like I've said before, like, eBay is really the only place when it comes to anything secondhand. I know a few people have had luck with the Facebook Marketplace. I've had zero luck with that. Nobody wants to post, so that's kind of like straight out the window. Because even like the other day, I seen somebody selling a G1 Galvatron for about, say, $10, and he wouldn't post it. And I was going to pay for the postage, and I was like, just leave it then. Because you know yourself, like, we could fix that up with retro labels and even get the extra parts we're needing, and we can have that completely fixed. But we have nothing like that. To find anything Generation 1 is basically a shot in the dark, dude. It really is. And that's how I always keep saying I'm in the wrong country completely, because when you guys say like what you can get out of the stores, like this store around the corner, and I'm like, I don't even have anything like that at all. I've got to go eBay. But
right. I mean, we kind of take advantage of it here because I live in the 4th largest city in the U.S. and there's a bunch of different specialty stores like comic book stores, stuff like that. And there's a bunch of thrift stores. There's a bunch of secondhand older toy stores like mom and pop toy stores, and there's Walmarts and Targets and big giant box stores and stuff. So
see, that's what I wish we've only got that one. We had Toys R Us, now we've got Smith's, but Smith's is, well, they were actually okay par wise with Amazon. Like Omega Supreme was £160, So what's that, roughly about $210 in dollars or $190 in dollars? Depending.
That's about 180, 190 in that
181.
range, yeah.
Yeah. So it was like on par with Amazon. So it's, but then again, like when yous guys are getting air fries just now, like we're lucky if we see any till about maybe April. So, but I think I'm gonna have to order for that. For my luck, at least anyhow. To at least get some air fries. Because like I've said it before, like Skylinks and Scorponok are defos. RC's kind of swung me. I want that RC now. But like Prime, I know I'll buy Prime, dude, because I've got the collection. Just to add them in. But I need to finish the Titans. That's the definite. I think that's the definite I've got to do now. Just have I tell a lie. You've got one Titan that I don't have, and that's Grand Maximus. You've got that one.
That one, the Grand Max was a gift from a friend of mine. We went to TF Con and I was showing him he was interested in Fort Max, the Titans Return Fort Max, and he doesn't know much about Transformers. He just liked the way it looked.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, hold on, they re-released that in different colors. Let's go find that, and we can, and whichever one you like, you can get. And so we went to go look at it, and he bought it, and then he went back and bought Fort Max, and he's like, I like both of them. So he's walking around with these giant Titan boxes, and we get back to the hotel, and he gives me Grand Max. He goes, here you go, you can have him because I know you don't have them, and you were really excited to find him. And
yeah,
I was like, cool, man. I appreciate it. Like when it comes to Transformers, I wear my heart on my sleeve.
Yeah, you're just the same as me, dude. It's one of those things. It's like, I think you have to be in the fandom to get us, because it is like when we see something, it's like if I seen a Japanese Overlord G1, that would be me, dude. I would probably faint there and then. Because that's my holy grail. Right. But even your Grand Maximus, does it have a Japanese voice, or is it the American voice?
It does have the Japanese voice. It does say things in Japanese. I don't know. I mean, I can make out what it kind of says because I watched the anime so much, but I'm not fluent in Japanese, so I don't know exactly what every phrase says.
Please tell me it plays the Headmaster's theme.
No, it doesn't play the Godmaster theme. I remember that was a complaint that everybody had, that the Fort Max, 2 out of the 3 Fort Maxes played the Headmaster's song, or it played some kind of theme song. Like the American one played the American cartoon song, and then the Japanese did the Japanese anime song, but this one doesn't play the song at all. It does have if you hold the button down, it does have some kind of, it says something, but it's the same thing that it says if you don't hold it down, but it's a longer version of what he says.
It's not even that. I mean, like when I seen that as well, and I don't even want. See that way, it's like you can't even do the voice anymore because like that's quite racist, and it's just the Master Sordo, and but the Headmaster series is my favourite. That's my favourite series. Coming back from the G1, don't know why. I just love it much more compared to the other ones. And then I'd say Victory. I do love Victory.
Victory is my favorite out of the anime, out of the G1 animes from Japan.
It's something completely different, and it was just brilliant.
Yeah, and I think the thing that really drives it home for me is Star Saber. You get to see an Autobot leader that's just as powerful as Optimus Prime without the Matrix.
Yeah.
So it leads into the question of what would Star Saber be if he had the Matrix, I
mean, that's basically answered the next question. It was you enjoy the movie or the cartoon when you've seen it. I think the movie, we all agree, when it comes to the 1986 movie. That's just the be all and end all when it comes to the movies. Um, like with us, with that generation of fans, especially with the music, the way it was done. Regardless of who killed Optimus Prime, but I take it when you finally did get to see it, did you get the same feeling as if you still get to like if you watch it today? Like, does it still blow you away at all? Do you still get those feelings when watching it? Just makes you be a kid again?
That movie, I didn't know that movie existed till I was about 12.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I first got the chance to watch it. And that movie blew my mind then. And I don't get the same feelings when I watch it. Those feelings have, I was going to say transformed, but I want to avoid the puns. But those feelings have morphed into a sense of magic with that movie. I can sit down and watch that movie and blink and it's over. And that movie still has a wanderlust for me because I can sit down and I want to go and I start to think what was going through this animator's head when he did this,
Yeah.
or what was going through the writer's head when he wrote that scene. And it's a very magical movie for me in that regard. So, and I still hold that movie in high regards to this day. I say that there's two movies. If anybody wants to learn how to make a movie for storytelling and for continuity wise, for storytelling, watch the '86 Transformers movie. You get to see like all the characters grow, and you get to see the character development of everybody, and then the sacrifice of the leaders, and get to see them achieve their goals by any means
Yeah.
necessary. And watch the 1990 Ninja Turtles movie, the live action one, for pretty much the same reasons, but with a shift to them. That movie's darker in tone. It's live action versus animated. So those are the two movies that I always suggest to people if they want to
It's
really learn
it's
their
funny you
craft.
actually bring up the Ninja Turtles because I think as a kid I didn't appreciate that movie. Um, because now, like you said, it was a dark tone, and I didn't quite grasp it until I was quite older, and then I get it. And you're right, it is for a movie based on comics that was a cartoon series and toys. It was really dark, and that's one thing I always bring up about. Because it is kind of like the second question. Because at the height of the 80s, when you think back to like the Brave Star, He-Man, even Mask, Jason, the Wheeled Warriors, like when you think of all those cartoons that then had even the GoBots, because I remember they had their own movie, didn't they? Was it straight to VHS at the time? Was
Yeah,
it Rock
it
Lords?
was.
And what stood out for me, like with the height of all the 80s cartoons, Transformers was just the one that went, right, yous have done this and it's kept fans happy. What can we do different? Of course, like some people can look at it and say, it was just a gigantic hour and a half toy commercial with this is what's coming. But it was much more than that. To me, it was like they took especially I think for Western audiences, I know in Japanese audiences, they're like the anime, depending on your age group, that dealt with death and stuff like that in it. Whereas we didn't really have that, and like that movie, like the only way I could describe it is the movie had balls to do what it did. Like, let's kill off the main character. Okay, there's the new one coming in. This is the major threat is coming in the form of Unicron. And then this is it. And like you said, it's the build up to achieving the goal. And like, is there anything else that stood out in the 80s to you, to that level?
Anything else that stood out in the '80s to that level to me?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, as far as in the same, I guess, like genre, or not really. There was always Voltron for me, and there was always later on would be Macross and Robotech.
Yeah.
But nothing on that level. No, man, nothing I could think of that got that level of hype. I mean, maybe Ninja Turtles later on. And He-Man probably before that, but nothing that.
So question 3, this is like one thing, like I've always asked a few people, because I never thought I'd have what I've got now. Did you ever think at all, like in the younger years to adult years, that you'd have the collection that you have now?
Man, to be honest, no. Not at all. And I'm looking at my office, which is where all my toys are, and it is not just the toys. I mean, because I always grew up. I think a lot of us grew up thinking that it would be really cool to have, all these toys and all
Yeah.
these movies and all these video games and all this stuff. And then, but when you have it as an adult, it's overwhelming sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
It's like, I want more, but there's no space, and you've got to think rational about it.
right.
And that's when like the "it's not fair" nearly creeps out, and it's like, oh no, I'm in my 30s now, I can't do this.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm like the same. It's like when I first started properly collecting, I was 18, and I just bought 2 figures. It was just the Armada Prime and Megatron, and now it's like you start to see it can go out of control. It's like, oh, I'll just buy that, and then it goes down in the box. It's okay, it's safe there. Then you're looking in the room, and it's like, I could easily build in that show holders, but the difference is we could easily make money off it.
Right.
Yeah. It's actually, it is quite insane, but at the same time, it's like, I think people do get us, like, and like say like you get people who collect games. Like I'm the same. I still collect all like physical copies. It's very rarely I'd go for a digital, and it's gaming people can kind of get us because it's like, well, this is why it's like, if you grew up in the NES or the Genesis, you've still got those cartridges. This is our NES and Genesis. It's just kind of like that same ideal, just with the collection.
Absolutely. And the thing is like with the Genesis, that there's always, I always feel like there's always something to discover in the Genesis.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of drives me with the physical copies, is that, PlayStation, on the PlayStation Store, is not going to always put up every PS1 game that they ever created.
Yeah.
And, and you get those flashback consoles and stuff, and not every game's on that console. So it's always like a greatest hits kind of compilation.
That's it. I mean, the PlayStation 1 that classic machine, because I bought it for my niece, it was a very poor emulator. That is the best way to describe it. Very poor compared to the Nintendo one, and it was mostly just to let her see, well, this is what me and your uncle and your dad would play. This is like our type of games, and obviously it's different now, but like, because she's seen Fortnite, stuff like that. It's like, no, that's not a game.
Right.
here's Final Fantasy VII. Just watch Aerith dying, and then you'll understand why I'm a gamer.
Right.
and I'm trying to get her into that stage, but I see what you mean, because it's like, if you go back and look at some of these consoles, like the ones that are out just now, and this is how even I think people understand us, especially with the collecting. It's like, if you take the Silent Hill, the original Silent Hill, like I said, in the UK, we got that one version banned instantly, because of the school, and they changed it. But a lot of us managed to get the banned version before they changed it. So it's like, having that copy still is like, it's gold. And it's like, it is like, if you've got a Generation 1 Power Master, or like the Generation 1 Fort Max, it's like, that's our gold. Like, and I think that's how like the gaming side get us, for collecting. It's insane, how a lot of people actually see it like that as well.
Yeah, agree. There's a I have a holy grail for. I'm a huge Sega junkie as well, and I have a holy grail. They did a misprint of Michael Jackson's Moonwalker on Genesis, where the label was placed upside down, and there's
I didn't know this.
Yeah, there's no difference between the game. It's just somewhere along the lines, the label in the factory just got flipped, and no one paid attention to it. But the problem with it is that anybody now can grab a hairdryer with their Moonwalker and flip the label upside down and try to put it up on eBay for a couple $100.
Yeah.
But one of my holy grails is to find an authentic Moonwalker with the upside down label. So
I think when I look at, I've got some, like, because obviously it's the Mega Drive over here. I still got some Mega Drive, Genesis. I think the one that's a definite Genesis version, because it won't play, is the Jurassic Park game. Like the best Jurassic Park game at the time. But my holy grail is still like day one launch of Final Fantasy VII, Metal Gear Solid. Like those, like, they're my holy grails. I've still got these from day one. I'm never going to part with these.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Metal Gear Solid's a phenomenal series.
Oh, dude, yeah. I mean, that's another thing, dude. That's probably another podcast me and you could do, because us two could probably talk about hours just in that series alone. There's so much to cover. The other one question I know always gets asked quite a lot, and it's like, now we are in a small community, it can, with like, say, the Transformers and collecting. How's it been for you over the last while, being a part of it? Like, just like with the hangouts, just doing the live streams, like interacting with everybody, like, considering it's like you said, like, you're in Texas, some are like further north, I'm across the pond. It's strange how we've all connected, and it is through just a toy robot.
Yeah, it's been, man, that's such a like a bit of a loaded question for me, because when I was in high school, I'll go back a little bit. When I was in high school, I used to wear my Decepticon logo T-shirt and my, my Optimus Prime shirt and all this stuff. And I was a really big, and to this day, I'm a giant robot fan, right? Like,
yeah, same as me. It's like, even Jellian, I just love it because there's the robots. It's Entma for robot, and it's a mech. You just have to watch to see why it's good. Then that's it. You fall instantly in love.
Oh, definitely. With Evan, with Neon Genesis, I whistle the theme song at work, and every now and then, I get that one person who's like, "Is that Neon Genesis?" Yo,
it's the silent nod. It's a silent nod. You make the eye contact, and that's
it. That's all you need. But for a while, man, like in high school, I used to wear those T-shirts, and I felt like odd man out. I used to write fan fiction before it was called fan fiction for Transformers and Beast Wars and stuff. And here, so I kind of felt odd man out. And then as I got older, I just kind of became a thing that I collected, because not a lot of people collected it. or not a lot of people was interested in it. And then with the little small community that I've become a part of on YouTube with, with everybody, there's about 25 of us, and it's been an awesome experience because everyone is so giving and everyone is so helpful. Everyone
Yeah.
is so understanding and so willing to participate and so willing to help everybody else. And whether it's a collection piece or a hard to find figure or your G1 scamper needs a gun, right? Like
Yeah,
there's
that's probably the best example. Yeah, it's like, oh, dude, over here, it's like you can get it for $10, isn't it? It's 70 quid for me.
yeah.
For anybody that doesn't know, that's going to be listening to this gun is lucky if it's about maybe less than 5 centimeters, if anything. And they want
Yeah.
it's crazy how much money they want for it. No, dude, I agree because in high school it was different. But when I got older and I started collecting, I didn't really tell anybody. I had the small collection I had at the time, and even like so, I've got the symbols tattooed on me, and that was like a wedding present from my wife. And I didn't tell anybody I had them either. It was just one of those things I just didn't want to. It's not that I didn't want to say, but it was just like, how can you bring up in a conversation? Oh, by the way, I've got this massive toy collection. That's where majority of my wage goes and why I don't drink. So it's like,
Right.
this is what I buy. And all of a sudden, with like, so, well, I've said that, I've said it before in the past, like, I'd done YouTube gaming and it's, I wanted to try something new. And it was just, why do I not show off parts of my collection? And even, I mean, how many times have we bought something? Like the case example was the Masterpiece Rodimus Prime. How the hell could you transform that? Because the instructions made no sense. And that's when I started seeing the videos of like people just teaching us how to do it. And it's like, I could help somebody like that, and that's initially how I started. It's like, right, okay, if somebody has this bought or they don't know whether to buy it, and then before you know it, it's just like you're in a community that, like you said, we just all look out for each other. Like, and it's not even that. Like you see in Discord, like if you're having a bad day, oh, don't worry, dude, come on, I'll talk to you. Do you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
and it's so different. I've said it before as well. I've never been in a community like it, especially a YouTube community. I've never seen one like it, and it's one of those things. It's not just helped as like a collector, but like even as it's strange to say, but even as like a human being, because it's like finally you feel like you finally have a place, if you get my meaning.
Yeah.
It's like you found your place, and it's you can get to see what everybody else has got. Like I'm always jealous when I see something like yous have got that, like that Devastator you got, that Shattered Glass is incredible, absolutely incredible. And now there's listings over here to try and get it. So it's like, oh, I need to try maybe down the line get that. But it's like even when you see Patriot's G1 collection, it's like that is insane.
Oh yeah.
And even Sardo's and Kato's third party, some of the bots they get third party look brilliant. And it's always fascinating to watch something different that you don't have, and that tends to be the thing. Like I've said that a million times. Like Earthrise does not interest me, apart from the two I want. And then when I started watching the videos like of like our community, and it's like, you're starting to sway me. You're starting to sway me. And that's been the bad side to it. It's like Larkin is basically totally swung me to buy I'm not buying it, my mum's buying me it, the Wee Yang Predaking, because that is a hell of a lot cheaper than try get the actual Power of the Primes Predaking. So I was like, I don't care if it's third party or a knockoff, I'm happy I've got a Predaking. So It's strange, dude. It really is, and I think it's something special that like we actually have got with like that community, and it is basically based on a bit of plastic. It's incredible.
Right. I mean, and that's the thing. It's like there's I don't feel like there's anything else like it community wise, because there's so much. I don't know how to put it, but like there's just so much anger in other communities, right?
Yeah.
We can sit down and go, I don't like Earthrise Grapple. I think it looks like crap, and no one in the room will call us stupid for saying that.
No, like you said, dude. I think the other day, I think that was that. Like the Megatron came up, and it was, I'm like, I don't like that, and it's like I think you said you like it. And I can't remember who else said they don't like it. Then another person said they like it, and it's like you can like we said, we all respect each other because it's like, yeah, it's a repaint, but I will buy it because I like Megatron. And it's like, oh, it's like Optimus Prime. It's another truck, but I'll buy it because it's Optimus Prime. And
Right.
but then where we all will agree, it's like we all need that Titan. We need that Scorponok.
Oh, agreed.
And it just to finish everything off, input, and I can't thank you enough for tonight. Final question: what is your favourite Transformer?
Oh, man, don't ask me that. Don't put that curse on me, Ricky Bobby.
Oh, dude, it's okay. I've got the curse one because I've always stated mine's is Hot Rod. I've probably picked the worst one.
We talking? Do you mean character or toy?
Character or toy?
I'd say, man, I'd say character would honestly be Starscream.
Yeah.
I love that character. I love his connivingness. I love his backstabbing, and I love how he's always thinking in the background. Right?
Yeah.
Toy. Man, there's just so many. But I'd say my favorite toy in my collection would be my Generation 1 Twin Twist Jump Starter figure. That was a gift from my grandfather. I was 5 when I got it, and he bought it for me, and that's still the one that I have today. And I've got that figure boxed. I've got the misprint box as well. And I've got my original one loose. That's all beat up. That's super loose. That's got dirt marks all over them and just, wear and tear from playing with him. But yeah, I'd say my favorite toy would be that Twin Twist.
Oh no, I did that, but that's when toys could last, basically, because that's lasted well over now 35 years. So
Right.
it just shows you compared to stuff now. Input, I can't thank you enough, dude, for joining me in this interview, and we'll return maybe one day. We might do another one. You never know, but that'll be on YouTube if you want to hear it. Thank you so much, dude.
Not a problem, man. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for everyone to tune in today's video. If you want to make Baby Grimlock happy, why not hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. All new videos are always coming right here in Optimus Wilbur Reviews. If you'd like to follow me in any of my social media links, all the descriptions are in the description box below. And of course, as always, I cannot stress this enough, I wish to thank Cybertronic Spree for allowing me to use their song Cybertronic Warrior as the theme of this channel. Guys, this is an incredible band, it does incredible covers, and recently just done an amazing album of the Transformers 1986 movie soundtrack. Please follow them and all their social media links. I have every description in the description box below. Please check them out, and as always, Transformer fans, till all are one.